All right, it is hard to believe it is already the second week of August, which means those kids are going to be heading back to school soon.
I know, can you believe it? Yeah, for little ones, a positive experience can set the tone for the rest of their childhood. That's part of the inspiration behind the new children's book, A Desk to Lean On.
Yeah, Connecticut author David Valovcin is here now to tell us all about the book. David, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
I was flipping through it, reading a little bit. It's very well written. I'm sure that this is a good one to sit down and it's a conversation starter, right, between parents and their kids or caretakers and children. And you have a special meaning behind the book.
You wrote this for your daughter, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and so she's 4 years old right now, and so loves the book. She loves that she's in the book.
I bet.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
And it's what happened with her. She was nervous about the new school and going into pre-K. It's just school in general. She did make friends at swimming school and in the neighborhood, and so she was worried about them not being there. And so she was, a little bit hesitant, a little bit nervous about it too.
Of course.
Especially also being away from her parents for most of the day.
Right.
It was an initial challenge, but she's doing great now. She's actually looking forward to school again now. Really excited about it.
That's great.
Oh, awesome. So, as kids and their parents flip through the book, what kind of lessons can they learn from the different, styles or techniques that you might teach them?
So, I mean, that children are not alone. They've got that support structure. A desk to lean on. Obviously, the desk is a physical object in the book, but it's also very symbolic. And they have their friends, they have their family, no matter the age, whether it's a child going to pre-K or even a child going to college. However you want to verbalize the concerns, worries, and what parents can do to help achieve that calmness.
We're taking a look at some of the illustrations that people can flip through and see when they hopefully get the book and then sit down with their kids and read it. Obviously, it's very colorful. It's easy for people to go look through. And the illustrations itself tell the story, right?
Yes.
So did you have that kind of in mind when you were putting this all together?
I definitely had a certain theme that I wanted, the color structure, make it very bright. Especially for the younger kids, attract them to the pictures, and then also keep the pictures simplistic enough to where they can easily relate to it. They can clearly see what's going on the pages. Depending on their age, they may not be able to read it. Their parents could read it for them, but at least the pictures are very clear and they can understand what's going on from that perspective.
You and I were talking about this too. The pandemic obviously has changed a lot for kids too, going back to school. There's been some anxiety too over that, so this can really help kids with that too, right?
Absolutely, and it's the pandemic obviously has been a challenge for everybody, no matter who you are, what age you are. For my daughter, one of the challenges was that she started school when everybody's wearing a mask, and you can't see the smiles, or the emotion. And I think coming out of this pandemic, I think it's very important that the children have friends to lean on, parents to lean on, and within the book, yes. In the book, my daughter Grace is initially stressed, but she gets over it, and she builds the confidence within herself, as well as realizing that she does have those family and friends to lean on.
Right, and you're talking about people to lean on, which is, I think, appropriate because it's a desk to lean on, so we've got that kind of parallel there. But, what is your message? Obviously, you've got a lot of that in the book here, but if you had a parent or a caretaker or a teacher who maybe asked some questions, what would you kind of give them as some advice or suggestions to help them get that school year started?
First, listen to your child. Let them try to be specific about their concerns, but also bring into examples of when you were a child and what were your initial challenges or worries and how you overcame them. But also remind your children of their previous successes as well. How did they get to that point? And no matter the situation, and also as a parent and as a dad, I would try to do cute things for my daughter, especially when she gets older. I know I'm taking a lesson from my mother. She would take the fortune out of the fortune cookie and she'd put her own fortune in and slip it into my lunchbox. And during lunch she'll say, you're going to do great on your math test, something like that. And I want to be able to do the same thing for my daughter there
I
as
love
well.
that. I love that. Now, how can people contact you, or how can they get the book?
So the book right now is on Amazon. They can also look through it from my website, davidvalovcin.com, and that's where they can. And they can also contact me there as well.
Yep, and all
Great.
that information is up on your screen right now, so you can find where the book is available, as well as David's website. David, thank you so much for coming in to
so
say
much.
hi
Thank you.
today.
Thank you so
Happy to
much.
be here. Thank you very much.
Awesome.